We are coming to you from the city beautiful, Chicago, Illinois, where this afternoon, WGN Sports presents White Sox baseball. It's Jose Abreu, Avi Garcia, Melky Cabrera and the Sox as they get set to butt heads with Joe Maddon's crosstown rival, Chicago Cubs. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Ken Harrelson with Steve Stone as we get set to bring you the finale of this three-game set. As you know, they've taken the first two games. So today's game will determine who has the bragging rights because of the Crosstown Cup. But going for them is newly acquired right-hander Dan Haren.
Dan Haren's pretty good. In fact, his ERA is very similar to Chris Sale's, and they got him as an improvement as a number 5 starter. And last time out against Milwaukee, Haren threw the ball pretty well. Now, he didn't go deep into the ball game, but he was effective. He's got a splitter. He tops out about 88, maybe 89 miles an hour with a good wind behind him, but these days he's not the hard thrower he once was with St. Louis. That's what he did last time out against Milwaukee, where he won the ball game. 5 hits and 5 1/3, gave up 3 earned runs. That's probably what to expect today on a very hot, very humid day. And our Sox against Dan Haren, well, they've got a few guys who've hit the ball. Jose Abreu, 2 for 3. Melky Cabrera, 5 for 16, and Adam LaRoche, 3 for 7, with 3 runs batted in and 2 and 2, respectively, for our guys. So hopefully today will be a good day against the veteran right-hander.
Well, yesterday they sent their best out there, and he beat us. Today we're sending our best out there, and Chris Sale.
Chris Sale, last time he saw the Cubs at Wrigley Field, threw the ball exceptionally well, and last time out he threw it even better. So here's the look against Anthony Rizzo. He also got Chris Bryant looking. He went 7 innings that day at Wrigley Field. He won the ball game and threw the ball exceptionally well, and last time out against the Angels, it was a bounce back for him. He had 2 bad starts, but a very good one against the Angels. And there you can see, 7 1/3 with 5 hits, 2 earned runs. He only walked 2 while fanning 7. And so Chris looking for a bounce back today, trying to stop from the Cubs sweeping our Sox. And if Chris Sale is as good as he was last time out, that's going to happen.
All right, finale, this crosstown rally. So sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
Okay, White Sox and Cubs fans fighting it out for the last time this season anyway, as the final game of the series takes place moments away here at U.S. Cellular Field. I'm Rich King. Welcome back. A few minutes left before the opening pitch. You know, Chris Sale had 2 tough outings, then he got his ship right against the Anaheim Angels, LA Angels, in the last week here in U.S. Cellular Field. So I asked Robin Ventura before the game what turned Chris back on track.
You know, I think he got over the hump of, you know, he went through a period where I think he had the strikeout streak going on, and you know, I think that can probably get to you somewhat and have that a little bit too much of the focus instead of pitching. And you know, he got over that, he rebooted, and I thought he threw a great game against Anaheim. Tough lineup. You know, and I just see him being a little more comfortable and going back out there and doing what he's capable of.
Okay, Chris Sale, Dan Herron, White Sox baseball. Hawk and Steve coming up after a break.
You're home for the most live sports. Beautiful day for baseball. Very warm, very humid, and Chris Sale loves to pitch in this weather, and what he's trying to do is tie up the season series with the Cubs at 3 games apiece. Let's take a look at how Joe Maddon's going to line up his Cubs for the game this afternoon. Dexter Fowler leading it off. Then it's Chris Denorfia, Chris Bryant, the designated hitter today. It's Anthony Rizzo, Jorge Soler, Addison Russell, Starlin Castro, Miguel Montero, and Jonathan Herrera batting 9th and playing 3rd. The defense and how they'll line up behind Chris Sale left to right, Melky Cabrera, Adam Eaton, and Avisail Garcia in the outfield with Tyler Saladino, Alexi Ramirez, Carlos Sanchez, and Adam LaRoche defensively at first. Tyler Flowers gets a nod behind the plate, and Chris Sale on the hill. Chris looking for his 11th win of the year, and this is 23rd start. Opponents hitting just .231, 193 strikeouts. Looking to go over 200 today. The umpires for the game this afternoon. DJ Rayburn behind the plate, Quinn Fagan at first, Kerwin Danley at second, and Joe West is at third. So they've thrown the ball around the infield. We are ready to play baseball, and I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Steve, thank you. And once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here over WGN Sports. So happy you could join us for the finale of this rally that we're trying to accomplish this afternoon to retain the Crosstown Cup. Dexter Fowler. Fowler, 4 for 9 in the series. And the first pitch of the ball game. Taken for a strike. Dexter comes in hitting at .245, 12 homers, 33 knocked in.
It's at .305 right-handed, .228 left-handed.
Cubs hitting at .241 as a club with a 3.38 ERA. There's a strike. And count 1-2. Cubs have been playing some outstanding baseball. He gone.
That one had little life to it at 97, and for a couple of games, Chris didn't have life on the fastball, but his arm seems to have bounced back well. You can see some high heat. And Fowler down on strikes.
That'll bring up the left fielder this afternoon, Chris Denorfia, hitting it .271, a couple of homers, 15 knocked in. One and one to count. And the count 1-2.
Chris's leading priority is going to win this ball game, but he has at least 6 strikeouts in each of his last 18 games. That's the longest active streak in the major leagues.
He gone.
He set him up for this breaking pitch by throwing it hard upstairs, and then that slider that just keeps on breaking. Takes a little something off, 80 miles an hour, and Denorfia swings over the top.
And here's Bryant. On a 12-game hitting streak. Four for 8 in this series. Yanks that one foul.
There you look at the 12-game hitting streak where he's hitting .366. He's kind of slowed down in the home run rate. However, the league made an adjustment to him, and now he's making it back to them.
He's got a unique swing. You don't see this kind of swing very often. Most hitters will take their hands to the ball. He takes his hands to the outside of the ball and around it.
He also crouches a lot like Alex Rios did when he first came into the league.
Well, crouching or standing up, that's just comfort zone there.
We'll take a look from the side. You'll see an interesting crouch that he has. He's a big man.
He gone. That didn't take long. After half inning of play, it's their guys nothing, and our guys, the good guys, coming to bat.
Degree day. It's Adam Eaton leading it off, then Jose Abreu in the 2 spot today. Melky Cabrera, who's been red hot, is hitting 3rd. Then it's Avisail Garcia, Adam LaRoche, Alexei Ramirez, Carlos Sanchez, Tyler Flowers, and Tyler Saladino rounding it out. Now we'll take a look at the defense and how they'll line up behind Dan Herron. Chris Norfield, Dexter Fowler, and Jorge Soler left to right. Jonathan Herrera, Addison Russell, Starlin Castro, and Anthony Rizzo in the infield, with Miguel Montero behind the plate and Dan Herron on the hill. He's won 150 games lifetime. He's 8-7 this year. Fine ERA of 3.55. Gone are the days of the big fastball. He throws around 88, making his 24th start of the year. He does have a splitter. And with Dan, seemingly the softer he throws, the better the result.
And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours, as there's first pitch strike. One and one to count. Adam hitting at .266, 10 homers, 30 knocked in. He's 2 for 7 in the series. Tommy hawks that one. Sox come in hitting at .249 as a team with a 4.05 ERA. And here at the ballpark, 330 down the left field line, 335 down the right field line, 375 in the gaps, and 400 straightaway center. Aaron at one time a very hard thrower.
He just had great stuff when he came up with St. Louis.
That's high in the short center. So with one out, let's check out our picks to click. Jim Angio, our director and recruit, they went with Alexi. Steve's going with Melky. And Tommy Sheridan, Rich Kuchar, Lindsey Jordan, Jeff Bogacki, Sam Larson, Rob Boaz, Mark Zucker, Nick Bristol, and Charles Johnson and I. We're going to go with Adam LaRoche and get him out of this funk. First pitch strike to Abreu. Jose has faced Herron 3 times, has 2 hits, one of which stayed in the park.
Outfield playing just a step or two to right center field. There is a gap in left center and a gap down the line and left.
And there's a base hit in the right center field. Soler will get it back in.
'87 upstairs usually isn't going to get it done, and that's exactly where this fastball was. Jose takes it to right center. And Dan Herron will be put to the test today because in his last 5 games, he's given up at least 1 home run.
Melky takes ball 1. That's foul back, and that's going to be in the seats.
Herron stayed with St. Louis very briefly before being shuttled off to Oakland, where he had some good years. He went 15-9 in 2007. Then he was sent to Arizona, and as a Diamondback, 16-8 in 2008. He's also played for the Angels, the Nationals, and last year the Dodgers. Pretty good numbers career-wise for Dan Herron.
Yanks that one foul. So the count 1-2 while we have a moment. The Chicago Fire Department firefighters of the 2nd Battalion would like to say get well soon, and we're thinking about you with a lot of love to Kirkland Flowers of Engine Company number 16 of the Chicago Fire Department. They're all thinking about you, Kurt. They all got their prayers out for you, buddy, and they love you. Montero with the block.
Montero did a good job in the opening game of this series, blocking everything behind the plate.
Javi Garcia on deck, and here's the 2-2 pitch.
This one could have gone either way. You'll see where the 5 pops up, and it went Herron's way. Good catcher, when he sets up on the outside corner, he's going to put, in the case of a left-hand hitter, he's going to put the thumb of his glove over the outside corner, extending the catcher's mitt out and maybe stealing a couple inches outside, and that's what Montero did for Herron.
Javi takes ball 1. Bit of a gap out there in left center. From a hitting standpoint against Herron, you don't have to get greedy. You just try to get yourself in a position to where you go back through the middle on most of everything, and then if he hangs one and gets it up, now you're going to react to it. Out and around that one, so they dropped the ball at second base.
Well, that's one of the reasons why Starlin Castro is at second and not shortstop, and that is loss of concentration, loss of focus, and Herron should be out of the inning, but instead he's got to face LaRoche. Here's a routine 6-4. I mean, it's a good throw. Castro just misses it.
You know, since he came up and talking with when we play the Cubs, that's one thing that always popped up. Lack of concentration. Lack of concentration.
Enormously talented guy.
That's
Yeah.
part of the equation.
Yeah.
Lack of concentration. Every conversation when he first came up said the guy's got tons of talent and no concentration. Is there as LaRoche as he takes first pitch strike. They got a shift on for him. Two on, 2 out, 1-1. Let's take advantage of an opportunity.
Last night's ball game, Adam lined one over the head of Schwarber in left field. He hit that ball hard for a 2-base hit.
That's low. If you missed last night's game, we gave them 4 runs. And they beat us 6-3. They took advantage of every mistake that we made. And that's one reason they've won 9 in a row and 15 of the last 16, being opportunistic. Two on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Made a nice approach to that pitch.
Like seeing the on deck circle if Adam can keep it alive.
After 1, no score.
At the White Sox baseball blog at WGNTV.com, sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide insurance agent serving the area for 37 years. To visit the nation, visit JeffVuk.com because Nationwide is on your side.
Here's Rizzo hitting at .298, 23 homers, 68 driven in. Looking for it, got it, and couldn't do anything with it. Soler on deck, Russell in the hole.
Kyle Schwarber's not in the lineup today, and Joe Maddon said, well, I'm going to give him a day off. I can't think of a better day than against that man on the mound, that man being Chris Sale.
Soler made a nice little play.
Nice catch by Soler. One hop. You don't figure a left-hander is going to one hop it to you when you're in the on-deck circle on the right side. But he came right at him.
He gone. 4 in a row.
He's on a pace to strike out 27. I got to figure they'll make contact eventually, though.
Somebody will. Soler, 275 homers, 39 driven in. Soler was 2 for 5 last night with a couple of RBIs, a couple of Kansas City specials. Cues that change right off the end. So the count 1-2. Sox conclude this series, this game. Board our charter, head on out to L.A. Take on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim at the Big A.
It's 4 with the Angels, 3 with Seattle. Seattle, after a pounding the last couple of days by Boston, is on top 7-0 in this one, but they gave up 37 runs in back-to-back games against the Red Sox.
Flips that one back into the seats for a souvenir.
That Angel Ball Club that looked so bad in this series here is still 36-23 at home. It's been the road that's been problematic. 24-33.
That one at 98 just did get a piece of it.
Chris usually throws most of his pitches in the strike zone, except for effect.
Saladino. And LaRoche misses it.
So we'll wait. And it goes E3.
So here is Addison Russell hitting at .240, 7 homers, 31 knocked in. That breaking ball on the count 0-2.
Russell just 21 years old. He's a very strong young man. He's got exceptionally strong hands, which is going to certainly hold him in good stead because he's going to be a good hitter.
Stacks it up on that changeup.
96 degrees. And the humidity is up there also.
He gone.
Good sharp breaking ball. It was out away, never really hit the strike zone. And he had Russell well out in front of it. So these Cubs, although they are red hot, they do strike out a lot. And Chris Sale is taking advantage of that. They've got 4 members of their everyday lineup that have fanned more than 100 times this year. But they're getting the job done these days.
Starlin Castro takes that fastball up high. Goes through that one. Change up.
In a 9-game winning streak, the team is hitting .271. They've scored almost 6 runs a game and put the ball in the ballpark 13 times. On the other side of the equation, the pitchers have gotten a whole lot better, holding the opponents just a .218 batting average, and in saves, the bullpen's been good. Successful 7 of 8 times.
Three and one to count. That's off the end of the bat into left field. And that'll retire the side. A couple more strikeouts. He has 5 and through an inning and a half, no score.
debit card, only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/White Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC. A huge crowd on hand here today. It's been a big and well-attended series. Standing room only here this afternoon.
Breaking ball strike to Alexei. Alexei hitting at .239, 7 homers and 43 driven in. He's 2 for 8 in the series. That's off the end of the bat, nothing in 2.
How would you approach Herron? Because knowing that Herron can't possibly throw a fastball by you inside if you're looking for it, how would you go after him?
Well, as I said last inning, I just go up there trying to take the ball back through the middle. I wouldn't stand right on top of the plate against him. I'd stand reasonably close to the plate. Would you make him have to tighten it up?
Would you be looking for the ball away?
No, for him, you can just look for the ball for the most part. When he can't throw 90 plus, as I said, he's going to give you, unless you're unlucky in that particular bat, he's going to give you something to hit. As you mentioned, he's thrown a home run in 5 straight games.
Yeah, well, look, he's got really good control, but that good late movement, the velocity is not there. It's not going to be there. So he's a craft and guile guy.
Right. And when you get a cunning and guile guy, what you want to try to do is take home run out of the equation in your thinking and then in your approach. You can do it on hard throwers. You can bring that in on hard throwers, but not on cunning and guile. That's out number 1. That's the 3rd strikeout for Herron. If you try to hit the ball real hard off of him, you're probably going to go for 4.
Well, it's evidenced by the fact that he does not have particularly good stuff these days, yet his ERA is a little above 3.5. So you got to figure he's making good pitches a lot.
Well, that's goes along with cunning and guile.
Yep.
First pitch strike to Carlos, hitting at .228. 2 for 7 in the series.
I talked with Dan many years ago when he was just a young pitcher, and I asked him about the Cardinals and how they brought him up and what they taught him. And he said he was a 4-seam fastball guy, threw really hard. He said, but coming up through the Cardinal system, they demand you throw a 2-seamer and try to make it sink. They have a bunch of guys that throw pretty hard. He said, but they tell you the benefit of, number 1, having a good infield, which the Cardinals seem to always have, and number 2, the ability to throw a ground ball when you need it. Hence the 2-seam with a little sink on it. And he said he became a much better pitcher once he learned that. And his ability to throw a double play ground ball when he was in trouble really made him a good pitcher.
Well, a 2-seamer definitely is going to move more than a 4-seamer.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So that being the case, hitters would much rather hit something straight than something moving. Hitters still have a comfort zone facing a guy who will throw 99, 100, 101. They still have a comfort zone if he doesn't have something else to go along with it. If he's got something else to go along with it, now that just changes the whole equation.
Well, you remember Paul Konerko turning on a 102-mile-an-hour Joel Zumaya high fastball because Joel threw it straight.
Yeah, Paulie was one of the better fastball hitters in the last 25 years in this game. But later on, Zumaya came up with a pretty good curveball before he blew it out. But when he was just throwing 100, that's got him pretty good. So that'll be a base hit for Sanchez.
Now they're going to come out and take a look at Dan Herron. Something they really can't afford, and that would be a chip fracture or a regular fracture, because that one got him flush. Take another look at it. It's a fastball away, took it right back up the middle, hit him on the right foot. You're probably better off getting hit on the left foot if you're a right-hand pitcher, only in that all of your weight is going to be centered over the right foot.
Well, especially if they got him on the ankle. If they got him on the ankle, then now he's trying to walk it off. You could hear it from all the way up here.
Yeah, it got him pretty well.
Another thing that's going his way too is that new guy coming to a new club that's in contention. They're playing well. And there's no way in the world he wants to come out of this ball game.
Well, there's no doubt it's an infusion of life. I mean, he left the Miami Marlins, a team where their best hitter went down, and of course for them that probably eliminated them when Giancarlo Stanton got hurt. But he comes to a team that, number one, is very young, very enthusiastic, and they're right in the middle of the wild card chase. In fact, they control their own destiny by a wide margin over San Francisco. So you got to believe that if this is the last rodeo for Dan Haren, he wants to go out with a lot of postseason play under his belt.
Well, with all that, he just didn't want to come out of the game.
Nope. He wasn't going to come out with that anyway.
Here's Flowers. Tyler, 228 homers, 29 knocked in.
Haren's been in the postseason twice. He was there in 2004 and again in 2006. First time with St. Louis, second time with Oakland.
1-1 to count. Decent lead by Carlos. "94 degrees as we speak, and down in that field feels a lot tougher than that." Close.
It looked like Carlos was starting to lean toward second base, but he gets in ahead of the tag on his elbow.
Castro.
Join us for Selfie Sunday on August 30th at 10:15. First 500 fans to purchase this special ticket offer can join us on the outfield warning track of U.S. Cellular Field to take selfies with select players. Visit whitesox.com/Selfie Sunday for tickets and more information.
So here's Tyler. Tyler, 242, 3 homers, 8 knocked in. He's 3 for 10 in the series, but he has made some magnificent defensive plays. Outfield slightly to the right. Want to know the count. That's off the end of the bat. A little soft pop up, and that'll retire the side. Nothing across. It was an infield single by Sanchez. We'll go to the third, still scoreless. For them, it'll be Montero, Herrera, then back to the top of the order with Dexter, Fowler. Miguel takes first pitch strike. Comes in hitting at .227, but he has 11 homers. One of them the other day, a game winner against Milwaukee. 1-1 to count.
Appeal to Joe West. He says nope, he did not go.
There's a slider strike. Outfield bunched just a bit, slightly to the left. He gone. 6 strikeouts now.
Chris has had some problems with left-handers, especially the second part of this year, but not today. This slider just kept on breaking. Montero got out ahead of it, and that ball was a good foot outside by the time it hit Tyler's glove.
So here is Jonathan Herrera, the shortstop, who's a switch hitter. Comes in at .243. Check that. Third baseman. Shortstop is Addison Russell.
Herrera's a pretty good utility player. You can put him anywhere and he's going to give you a solid effort. Nothing spectacular, but pretty good.
Reaches out, hooks it.
Contrasting styles for these two pitchers as Chris Sale just gets the ball and throws it. It feels pretty good and pretty well committed to whatever it is that he does throw. Dan Herron a little more deliberate as he takes his time. Anthony Rizzo on a very, very warm day here at U.S. Cellular Field.
Slider strike to Dexter, who struck out swinging on a fastball. That's into right center field. We got a man there. That didn't take long. 1, 2, 3, and after 2.5, still no score.
.112, you might want to take a look at the maple glazed bacon on a stick. It was very popular last year, but this year, putting that maple glaze on it made it a must-eat at the ballpark. And it's especially low in cholesterol. One of my faves. Bacon on a stick. And Dan Herron, having his ankle attended to, is going to the mound, but a little gingerly. Could very well be that that ankle still doesn't feel real good. But, you know, as a sportsman-like approach, you might want to help him test it out by bunting and see if he can get to it.
You know, pitchers amaze me. They really do. They can take shots off their body, and unless it's broke or fractured, they're going to try to stay out there.
You remember many years, because you saw him from the beginning, how many times Mark Burley was hit off his lower body, and I mean with rockets.
That's
and
unbelievable.
Didn't seem to bother him at all.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We had a guy, as I've mentioned many times, Brent Burns, who Brent just couldn't defend himself out there. And fortunately, knock on wood, the big guy upstairs took care of it. I mean, just by inches, missing it.
Sometimes you got to get really lucky a lot.
Yep.
Especially with these maple bats.
I've seen guys take some shots to the chest, to the legs, to the things, knock it down, pick him up, throw him up, and then collapse.
Well, they got to get you out.
Yeah. That breaking ball going exactly where it was designed to go. Foul.
Just break it low and in, and if a hitter does get the bat on it, he really can't keep it between the lines.
That was it. That was 88. Two-two pitch. Had the zone.
Looked like a splitter and probably wanted a little more on it, but it did have the upper part of the strike zone, and it's a called third. Third strikeout for Herron. Fourth strikeout for Herron.
Here's Abreu. He singles sharply into right center field.
The last 21, Jose Abreu has been pretty hot, hitting .316. He's hit 7 home runs, driven in 20, scored 18. So it's been a good run for the big man.
That ball deep in the right field. Stretch, stretch. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yeah. Number 22, and it is 1-0 Sox.
And for the 6th straight game, Dan Herron has given up at least 1 home run, and that's RBI number 69. And that one rode the wind currents out toward right field. I think Soler thought he had a shot at this. This ball stays up in the zone, and Jose, as he did the first time, takes it the opposite way. Only this time, the opposite way was a run right into the bullpen sports bar, the Miller Lite bullpen sports bar.
And here's Cabrera. Takes a strike. And of course, with that home run, the Alex Nellis family and Christine O'Reilly and White Sox Charities hook up again in loving memory of Ursula. There's a shot base hit by Melky.
if you're going to catch an Abreu home run, it would help if you had an Abreu shirt. And that's exactly what that man does have. Makes a fine play on it.
A little karma right there.
Yeah, gets himself a souvenir.
Kismet. So here's Avi. With Abreu on first base in the first inning, Avi hit a routine ground ball to Addison Russell at short, who made a good throw to the second. Castro was covering, and Castro just flat blew it. Oh, he got a cookie right there.
Yeah, that time Dan made a big mistake up and out over the plate, but he got away with it.
One and one to count. And advantage goes to Avi. This game, if you're just joining us, will determine who has the bragging rights and the Crosstown Cup. I really didn't care for that one. I don't blame him. 2-2. Boy, he's hot. He's hot at that umpire. Two down.
Sox fans, the first 20,000 fans on Sunday, August 30th, will receive a White Sox baseball cap presented by Marquette Bank. Marquette Bank, love where you bank. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. So Herrera is going to shift all the way from third to very deep second base.
Adam struck out his first trip.
Adam had all he could do to get out of the way of it. Montero wanted to appeal to Joe West.
Joe said, don't bother me. It's hot.
Not with that.
Softly hit. And that will retire to the side, but not before the home run. His 22nd by Jose Abreu. The guys lead it after 3, 1-0.
first baseman Jose Abreu with a commemorative bobblehead. These bobbleheads are available for purchase online and at White Sox home games, with proceeds benefiting Chicago White Sox charities and programs supported by Abreu's Amigos. And that is a community outreach program created by Jose to support children with special needs.
1-0 Sox here in the top of the fourth inning. Denorfia, Bryant, and Rizzo face our Chris Sale. First pitch strike. Starts him off with a change, and Denorfia struck out. In fact, the whole first three struck out in the first inning. Chris has 6 strikeouts.
It's another straight change, only this one, instead of right down the middle, which you can get away with on the first pitch, was about 3-4 inches off the outside corner, with Denorfia trying to go out after it. He swung, and that's what that slider will do to you.
That's a Torrey Hunter swing right there.
That's 200 strikeouts for the 3rd year in a row, and Chris Sale's slider, when he gets ahead of you, when he breaks it down and in, it can absolutely make you look ridiculous.
Well, if you're a right-handed hitter and you don't wear a knee guard on that right knee hitting against him, you're nuts.
I would think the folks in the dugout might be getting on Chris Denorfia about that particular swing. Especially the ones who don't have to face Chris today.
Yeah, and if they had a lead, they definitely would. 1-1 to count.
Here's strikeout number 200. Hit him right off the foot. And he just sits there.
I tell you what.
Which is really all you can do at that point.
I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing with him. Gary Peters was a fine left-hander for the White Sox back in the 60s. He got me that way one night. He gone. 8 strikeouts, 2 for Bryant.
This slider didn't bite down and in quite as much as one to Denorfia, but equally as effective as Bryant goes down for the 2nd time.
Rizzo struck out his first trip.
He was looking fastball, and Chris threw him an off-speed fastball. That's one of the great things about Sale these days. He can use that fastball. It's 2 or 3 different pitches. That wasn't his straight change, but it was 90 miles an hour.
There's breaking ball. Well, that first pitch, Rizzo saw it probably 47, 48 feet.
Yeah, I mean, his eye identified fastball because of the spin on it. And he went out to get it. It wasn't there.
That one at 96, just off the plate. One 4-1 for us. No runs, no hits, 1 error for them. And a 2-2 count to Rizzo. Rizzo, when he gets the 2 strikes, chokes up on that bat, which is a great thing for you youngsters out there to try. He gone. 9 strikeouts. And we lead it 1-0. stop by to take a selfie or check out the latest White Sox chatter on social media. Hashtag Sox Social Lounge. First pitch to Alexei. He hung it. He hit it hard. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. It's 2-0 Sox.
That one just stayed up in the zone on the inside part of the plate, and Alexei hitting his 8th home run of the year, driving in his 44th. Second home run in as many innings, and that was a no-doubter. Here's our Mazda replay, and take a look where this one came up. It's a spinner on the inside portion.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier, as his Sanchez. You forget about the home runs because you're probably going to get something to hit out of the ballpark.
If he makes the one mistake like that.
If he's looking fastball right there, he hits that ball foul. Oh, 0-2 the count. Carlos, a line drive off the ankle of Heron. Out in front. Hooks that one foul. He did not go. Count evens at 2. Souvenir time left side. And another souvenir.
Soler is very deep in right field, which is somewhat surprising for a man with 3 home runs.
Free hopper.
Dust off your blue suede shoes for Elvis Night on August 28th, presented by St. Xavier University. Come out to the ballpark for a tribute to the King of Rock and Roll, featuring performances by an Elvis tribute artist and a post-game fireworks show. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com.
Here's Flowers. He popped up to Castro at second. That ball's hit hard. Look at the play. Look at the play by Herrera. Wow. That is a gorgeous play right there by Jonathan Herrera.
That's one of the reasons why Joe Madden loves to have Herrera around, because he can play everywhere and he will make the plays. This one diving into foul territory. He's got a strong enough arm to throw right over the top and throw a strike to Anthony Rizzo, taking a 2-base hit away from Tyler Flowers.
That ball hit into right center field. That's a base hit. Get by him. It will. Now he's going to pull up at second with that double for Tyler. That's his second 2-bagger. He has 2 triples and 3 homers. Yeah, that's the first time I've seen Herrera at third. I've seen him at short.
Yeah, he can do a lot of things, and this is a slider. It's down, but it has the whole plate. And even though Soler got to it, couldn't really stop himself till he got to the wall, and by that time, Tyler coasting into second base.
That's high and deep stretch. Nope. Fowler on the track. He just missed it. But the home run by Alexei. We're into the fifth, leading 2-0.
On the WGN Sports Game Zone banner. For the latest stats and information, the Sox Game Zone is powered by Robert Morris University, Illinois, offering over 55 athletic teams. That's more than any other university in the state. For more information on RMU, visit robertmorris.edu.
Cub half of the fifth inning. It'll be Soler, Russell, and Castro. Soler reached on an error by Adam LaRoche. Hit a ground ball to Saladino at third. Made a good throw, and Adam just whiffed on it. Two, 6, and 1 for us. No runs, no hits, one error for them.
What's pretty surprising to this point, even with the 9 strikeouts, Chris has only used 60 pitches, so he's getting everything over the plate.
That changeup, if you're just joining us, has really been working for him. Everything, as a matter of fact.
As you can see, a minimum of pitches. 21, the biggest inning in the second. And that would have been much less than that if not for the error on the Soler ground ball.
One of the few 3-2 counts. And there is the leadoff walk. So here's Addison Russell. He struck out swinging on a slider.
That was a pretty good pitch.
A good pitch.
Well, it's good that Clint Fagan did say that he swung, because that ball had the plate anyway.
static lead by Soler. He's changing speeds on his changeup.
Yeah, very effectively, and especially when he's ahead. You can guess changeup, you just can't guess the velocity. Of course, when a pitcher can throw 97, 98, if you're guessing changeup, and the guy's got 3 or 4 different plus major league pitches, usually going to be out anyway.
Russell just did get a piece of it.
Russell has taken over as the everyday shortstop, and he looks to be there for a while. And if Castro is going to stay in the lineup, it might be occasionally at third, but not too often. More times than not, it'll be at second.
High pop up. Eaton.
Sox fans, join us on Saturday, August 29th at 6:10 as our White Sox take on the Mariners. First 20,000 fans will receive a Jermaine Dye World Series moment bobblehead presented by Pepsi. For tickets, call 866-SOX-GAME or visit whitesox.com.
So here's Castro. He went out to Cabrera in left field. Takes a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Castro, most of this series, has been trying to pull just about everything. Temperature has bounced back up to 97 from where it was sitting at 94.
One on, one out, the 1-1 pitch.
Travis Wood throwing in the pen. And since that conversion to a pensman, he's been pretty good for Joe Madden. He did start 7 games, however.
Three and one.
Normally, if you throw a good changeup here, you're probably going to get that ground ball to the left side. Let's see what Tyler has in mind. He wants a fastball.
And he's got a full count with it.
Castro a little tardy on that 96, even though it was down the middle. Miguel Montero, fired from the Arizona Diamondbacks, in the on-deck circle.
Gap out there in left center. And that's popped up. Javi, stay away, he says. 2 down. And here is Montero, who struck out on a slider.
You can't beat nachos. Especially with really hot peppers on it. Yeah, look at Brandon Hyde, the first base coach. It's Gary Jones, the third base coach, who loves to set up way out there almost in left field.
Brushed that one by him right underneath his hands at 96. That one again at 96, and the count 0-2.
Last time he got him on a slider that almost slid into the Sox dugout. It was so far outside.
Yeah, you better believe Montero had that in the back of his mind.
Well, he's going to see one here. Let's see what he can do with it.
He gone. 10 strikeouts now for Chris. We're halfway home, leading 2-0.
He got a fastball up and out over the plate, and hits his 22nd home run. That gives him 69 driven in. He was later joined by Alexei Ramirez, and it's a 2-0 game.
Abreu also singled sharply into right center field his first at bat. 2-6-1 for us. No runs, no hits, and 1 error for them. Cabrera on deck. Garcia in the hole.
And although Herron is still out there for the moment, at only 75 pitches, Travis Wood is still throwing in the pen.
And there's a shot's going to hang up for him. So hang with him for Abreu. Yeah, we had 36,386 Friday. We had 39,579 last night. They're going to have again a whole bunch today. Melky is 1 for 2. Last time up in the third, lined a sharp single into right field. Big hack fouls it down. Three and one. Huge gap out there in right center. Stay fair. Stay fair. It will. You can. Put it on the board. Yes.
It looked like that one started a hook, and then the wind just kept it in fair ground. That one went way out. The only question is, would it hook in front of the pole? It didn't. And it's 3 solo shots and a 3-0 lead.
Melky, his 8th. He now has 59 RBIs.
That looked like a cutter inside, and somehow Melky was able to keep it inside the pole.
But if you don't get greedy on him, you're going to get something you can hit hard. If you get greedy, that's what Cunningham Gal pitchers do. They take advantage. They prey on the avarice. As that ball, he just missed that one. That's high and deep into left center field, right in front of the State Farm. 2 down. And here comes Joe Madden. As that's probably going to be all for Dan Herron. Adam LaRoche will be the hitter. He has made the call to the pen. So Herron departs, and we'll be back.
.5-4 ERA, 4.34 up to a 36 time. He's got a very big overhand curveball. He was brought on to save one game. He was successful. Opponents hitting just .231. 2013, he was an all-star. His ERA in the low 3s. Last year, not a particularly good year for him. He wound up 8-13 with an ERA up over 5. So this year, although he did start 7 times, he's found a home in the bullpen for Joe Madden.
And he can swing the bat.
He can really swing it.
Going away, first pitch to Adam. Adam is struck out and grounded softly to second. One and one to count. In that Angel series coming up, we're going to run Rodon, Danks, Samardzija, and Quintana out there. They're going to run Heaney, Garrett Richards, Jared Weaver, and Matt Shoemaker.
We didn't see Richards, and we didn't see Weaver. That's two of their best.
Richards has got the best stuff on that staff.
Yeah, he's got excellent stuff.
And that's foul back.
And if Weaver's healthy and he's had some hip problems, he's a real good pitcher with a great straight change.
And we'll finish it off with 3 from Seattle. Back to home run by Cabrera. We'll go to the 6th. It is 3-0 Sox. Three nothing good guys here in the top of the 6th inning. It'll be Herrera. Then back to the top of the order with Fowler and DeNorfield. He almost ran right into that one.
I'm surprised it missed him because he was trying to push it to the right side to break up the no-hitter and to get on base. Somehow the ball did miss him.
That evens the count at 1. He's been in play once. He grounded out to Alexei. High pop up. Stay in here. Stay in here. It will. And it's caught by LaRoche.
Adams usually pretty good on these. Is this ball being pushed back in to the field of play, and he's able to make the catch.
So here's Fowler. Dexter has struck out and lined out hard to Adam Eaton in right center. And you cancel a post-game show. First hit.
And Fowler was able to take that ball 3 inches off the outside corner and pull it into the hole on the left side. Take a look at the location of this one as Dexter went out there. Usually don't see this too often, but it wasn't Chris's best fastball. It was 92. And there is the first hit of the ball game.
Here's DeNorfia, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Two and 0 the count. He has not worked much from the stretch today. Change up, good one. Chris Bryant on deck. And a 3-1 count. Changes the dynamics of this at bat for DeNorfia. Two on.
Tyler's going out there to have a word with Chris Sale as the Aaron Waters show is this weekend. It's just a beautiful thing to see.
So the first time they've had 2 men on in an inning. And Bryant, who is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, is the hitter. First pitch strike, that one at 97. That one at 98 low.
Plant for a big man has good speed. He's only grounded to 5 double plays this year. Tyler Saladino is playing him as a dead pull hitter. He's deep and toward the line at third.
One and two.
With runners at first and second and 1 out. Cubs have scored at least 143% of the time, which is above league average. The Sox pitchers have allowed at least 1 run 33% of the time, which is below, well below league average. Had a backdoor breaking ball, but couldn't shave off the outside corner.
Give him a good motion. Full count. Double him up. Give him a good motion. Good change. That one at 98.
He reached back with everything that he had and tried to throw it by Bryant, who was able to stay alive, fouling it off to the right.
He gone. Another one at 98. Eleven strikeouts now for Chris. And 2 out, and here comes Rizzo, who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts.
He just reaches back and throws it right by him. Nothing fancy on the last 2 pitches. It was everything Chris had in the tank.
First pitch strike. That one at 99.
That got him.
And that hit him. He turns into that pitch. He turns into a lot of them. And that'll load up the bases.
Rizzo's been hit for the 24th time this year. Far and away #1 on the ball club.
You get more guys hitting themselves today. It's amazing. On pitches that really aren't that far inside.
Well, the thing is, he clears the right side, and then the left elbow follows. The left elbow probably is very close to the inside corner.
That's why they hit themselves.
Yeah, that's how he got hit that time.
Sacks packed, 2 down, and here's Soler. Soler has reached on an error, and he has walked. There's a slider strike. This will be pitch number 100. Good pitch, didn't get it.
Well, Chris really wanted that one. You could tell by the reaction. DJ Rayburn thought it was inside. Chris thought it had a piece of the corner, and I think Tyler Flowers is having a conversation with him, although he's facing the field of play.
That one at 98. And the count 1-2.
Fans on their feet all over the ballpark.
That was at 99. He gone. Number 12. And we'll go to the bottom of 6. He leads it 3-0.
888-979-9999 right now for your chance to win 6 meals from the Simple 6 menu from Subway. Message and data rates may apply. Subway, eat fresh. Here's our Xfinity Fundamentals area devoted to young White Sox fans.
Go Sox, baby.
Oh, the Xfinity Zone. That's behind section 110. That's 2,200 square foot bar and restaurant featuring great food and drinks with multiple screens to eat and still enjoy the game.
First pitch, breaking ball, strike to Alexei. Alexei has struck out and he has homered. 3-7-1 for us, 0-1-1 for them here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Wood with that funky motion.
It looks almost like he comes at you in sections.
Three and one to count.
Wood came over from Cincinnati, and the primary man in that deal was, at the time, one of the better setup men around, Sean Marshall.
And there's a good way to start it.
The first 25,000 people who attend a Chicago White Sox game receive a game card courtesy of Jewel Osco with a coupon for $10 off a purchase of $100 or more. Jewel Osco, keeping it fresh, keeping it local. Purchase tickets today by visiting WhiteSox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Gap out there in left center. If he can find it. Alexei with a pretty good lead. Good rip. Meanwhile, the count 0-2. Another good lead by Alexei.
The Cubs bullpen up and going in case Wood has some problems.
That's back into the crowd.
There's a look at Tommy Hunter, our throwing right-hander. He was acquired from Baltimore.
He did not go. Top of the 9th in Toronto. Blue Jays leading the Yankees 3-1. Houston leading the Tigers 5-2 after 4 down at the juice box. Got him. 1 out. All right, here's Tyler. Here's what he did the last time up. He had a rocket.
Unfortunately, a terrific play by Herrera at third. Gets up and guns it.
And that is a
out by plenty.
Definite hang woofle. Hitting against Travis Wood, you got to try to find a way to get past that motion. Just concentrate on the release point or where you think it's going to be. One and one. And that is a lot easier said than done.
Montero's going to have to do something with that mask as one of the straps has come undone.
One on, one out, 1 and 1 to count. Saladino on deck. There he goes.
Got to throw that ball on the first base side of second because there are no outs on the third base side of second.
Kerwin Danley said he got him.
Let's take a look at it. It is on the first base side of second, and as Castro comes across,
oh yeah,
he got him
easily. So Lexi now 15 for 20 in stolen bases. Three and one. And there was a play right there that Montero really didn't get rid of it that quickly.
Nope. Turned out to be a nice tag.
So here's Tyler. He has popped to short, and he has doubled in the right center. It is the final from Toronto. 3-1 Blue Jays over the Yankees. First pitch strike to Tyler.
It's certainly going to tighten it up as now Toronto a half game back of New York. Interrupted the Yankees' 3-game winning streak and stopped the Blue Jays' 2-game losing streak.
And Baltimore is going to go to 4 games back as there is a ground ball. And that'll retire the side. We're into the 7th, leading 3-0.
That's a table behind section 158, and that's where you can sign up for the Blacklist, the team's online resource for breaking news, ticket offers, videos, and more. And you get a free T-shirt. And there is that handsome shirt. So register for the Blacklist. Right behind section 158.
We have completed 6. For the Cubs, it'll be Russell, Castro, and Montero here in the top of the 7th.
Sox bullpen up and going. That call was made right after Chris Sale came off the mound after a tough 6th inning where he reached back, got everything he could to get Bryant and Soler.
Russell, 0-2 the count. Addison has struck out and popped up to center field. He pitched number 106. He gone. Slider. And a strikeout number 13. That'll bring up Starlin. Castro has gone out to left and popped up to right.
Herrera and Castro, the only 2 Cubs who have not gone down on strikes. Chris's season high is 14, which he's done a couple of times.
Count evens at 1. And that one just off the inside corner.
Zach Putnam loosening into pen, and it's a very easy day to get loose. It's still 96 degrees at the ballpark.
He gone. 14 strikeouts.
Little slider. Right close to the outside corner. Didn't have the plate, but Castro went after it anyway.
Montero has seen enough of Chris Sale's slider today.
I would think so.
There's a fastball. Or changeup, I should say. He just rips it. Anyway, something fairly straight.
That was down by Brandon Hyde, who got out of the way of it. Is that young lady enjoying the shower on a red hot day?
And there's a slider. Count evens at 1. 3-7-1 for us. We have had 3 solo home runs if you're just tuning in. There's a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Number 115. And not a whole lot of velocity differential between when the game started and now. His career high is 50.
He gone. And that ties his career high. So 7th inning stretch, we lead at 3-0.
Turning into a beautiful day for baseball, and those folks that showed up today are being treated to a cornucopia of strikeouts from Chris Sale. 15 of them. In fact, he struck out the side in the first inning. He struck out the side in the fourth inning. He struck out the side in the seventh inning. And you would think probably that would be it on a red-hot day, very humid. It's been around anywhere from 94 to 97 all afternoon. And the Sox on 3 solo homers lead 3-0. They've out-hit the Cubs 7-1. Each team with an error as Chris Sale ties his career high last time, May 28th of 2012 at Tampa Bay. But this was a big one for Chris, coming out after a very good bounce-back effort last time out against the Angels, and knowing that Cubs have won the first two games of the series. Want to go out today and send this ball club on a road trip on a high, and so far Chris Sale has done everything you would expect and more.
Well, that's what you call your ace. That's what you call your stopper. That's what you call a man who's got to go out there and get something done, just as Arrieta did for them yesterday. So they sent their best out yesterday, and we got beat. Well, let's put it this way. We beat ourselves yesterday. We gave them 4 runs, 4 of the 6 that they scored, and they beat us 6-3. That was one of the ugliest games we had played all year long.
That was a baddie, but like the team has done today, you put it behind you.
That's it.
And go get them.
That's it. And that's exactly what Robin told them to do before the game and after the game last night. When you play that bad, there's no sense in screaming and yelling and kicking. Tell them, hey, forget it. It's baseball, boys.
Some of the greatest managers in the history of this game, almost without exception, if you play a bad game, you're not going to hear a word from them, because you don't have to tell the players that they stunk. They know that. And managers will not go out and pile on them at that point. They might discuss something the next day or the day after, but not after a real bad one.
1-1 pitch to Adam. Well, you show me a manager that does that, especially with a good team, then I'll show you a loser.
Now, guys that have good ball clubs and understand the psychology of this game, and there's a lot of it on a daily basis of keeping your team ready, they're not going to do that.
Well, Ozzie, that's why Ozzie was so good in 05. And we had a bad ball game. He didn't go out as he gets him. He didn't go out screaming and yelling and ranting and raving. If he was going to do that, he was going to do that when we actually were playing pretty good.
So Madden comes out. Apparently that is going to be it for Travis Wood, who came on and did a pretty decent job in relief of Dan Herron.
So he goes an inning and a third.
And Tommy Hunter comes in, and as he trots in, we'll step out and be back after these messages. Good for 75 cents off their next Merck's purchase at participating grocery stores. If you like your bases and your burgers loaded, well, then you're a Merck's man. Visit today. You can purchase tickets by going to WhiteSox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. And Tommy Hunter comes into this game. He's 1-0. His ERA, 5.79. These are his numbers as a member of the Cubs. He's on for the 7th time. Opponent's hitting a fairly high 316 against it.
I was talking with a scout yesterday. He said Hunter has hit triple digits lately.
Yeah, he hasn't had any problem with the velocity. We saw that at Baltimore.
First pitch strike. One out here in our half of the 7th. Abreu has singled, homered, and lined out hard to left field. 3-0 Sox.
Hunter was used as a closer by the Orioles for a while, and then he lost his spot to Zach Britton, who came on throwing nothing but ground balls. Britton has been very good for the Orioles, and Hunter was odd man out.
Chops that one foul. And if you're just tuning in, Abreu homered in the 3rd. Alexei homered in the 4th. Cabrera homered in the 5th.
James Russell loosening in the pen.
Good checkup, and after the game, we'll board our United Charter. Mark Sparky Sipole, Joe Bonilla, Jackie Cruz, Tanya Capper, and all the great folks. Also Bernard Young at Atlantic Aviation, and head on out to Los Angeles for 4 and Seattle for 3.
Nate Jones starting to loosen. I would say that Robin has squeezed about everything he can out of Chris Sale, who was absolutely brilliant.
Well, he's left it all out there on that bump today. Up and in, full count. He has left that at 100 right there. He left it all out there.
The only blemish, if you could call it that, was a fastball away to Dexter Fowler, who pulled it through the left side. Their lone hit.
Well, you just got to get Dexter all the credit on that one. There was a get me over breaking ball that stayed in the ballpark. Foul. These usually have a tendency to go a long way. Oh, 3-2.
It doesn't do too much. It just kind of sits there. Jose fouled it off.
That was good at bat right there.
On our Xfinity Speed replay, we'll take a look at the 3rd of 3 solo shots, and this a titanic shot down the line. The only question, would it stay fair? It was answered by Clint Fagan. Yes, indeed. And for Melky, it was his 8th home run, his 59th driven in, and made it 3-0. Speed Replay is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
Tags low. Yeah, that Clint Fagan, every time we've had him, you don't even notice it.
Usually the sign of a pretty good one.
You better believe it. Get behind the plate or on the bases. That got a piece of Montero. One on, one out, 1-1 to count. Shanks that one. 17-2, Orioles. They're going to go 4 back. They lead Oakland in the 7th inning at Oriole Park. Did you see that catch that Adam Jones made?
I did not.
You got to see that. That's one of the greatest catches you'll ever see.
Adam Jones has been awfully good for a long time.
He certainly has done that. That's low. Yeah, that catches. If it was in the right setting or circumstances, it might go down as the greatest catch ever. Dwayne Wise, of course, he's got our nod for that.
Yeah, that one by Dwayne and the situation it was in.
Right.
That's probably not going to repeat it anytime soon.
Yeah, you got to have the stage for it to be called the greatest. I think that series Aaron Rowan had in New York defensively, that's one of the greatest series you'll ever see. He had the opportunities and he took advantage of it. Here's the 2-2. Down past Joe McEwing. First at 30. Right here, Melky. That ball's hit hard. Watch out. Hang loose. $39,475 as that ball into left field. Get over his head. It won't. So DeNorfia makes the catch for out number 2. So here's Javi. Javi's 0 for 3. He's due. Takes first pitch strike. That one at 98. What was the highest you hit before you hurt your arm? High 90s?
Yeah, in those days, completely different guns than they use now.
Well,
now they're using the Jugs gun, and
they
really want people to kind of get up. You know, they want to see triple digits. In those days, it was a ray gun, which measured something different, but you know, it was fun when you had a good fastball because you could actually throw it by people. And then when you lose it, all of a sudden, and it took me 2 years to figure out that I had lost it. The hitters were trying to tell me, but I was throwing just as hard. It wasn't going as fast. And eventually the catcher would come out and say, you might want to, you know.
Took you 2 years to find out.
Yeah, it did. It really did. I just didn't have the big fastball anymore. So then you have to try to make it move and do a lot of different things.
Well, you were out of that Kelvin Herrera and Greg Holland school, little guys who hit triple digits.
Well, in those days, the pitchers, the real hard throwers, except for Gibson, real hard throwers use a drop and drive that Seaver used, where you would push off with your back foot and your knee actually hit the ground. And Tom was a master at it, spent a lot of time, didn't hurt his arm because of that particular motion. Then for some reason, it fell in disfavor. I could never understand it because you were pitching more with your legs than your arm and you stayed around longer. And of course, Seaver, Nolan Ryan pitched with his legs exceptionally well.
You don't pitch 26 years in the big leagues.
No, you
That's
don't.
foul away. And by the way, Seaver, I had lunch with a friend of mine yesterday who saw him in Cooperstown and said he's doing great. Had a talk with him, and of course Nancy, Tom's lovely wife, they got a little vineyard out there in California, and they sell every bottle of wine that they make. Every bottle. Oh, he got a cookie right there and couldn't do anything with it. people to this day outside of New York, most older baseball fans don't realize what a great pitcher Tom Seaver was.
It was hard not to if you look at any of the numbers.
He was one of those guys you had to face him and see him to believe. I faced him a lot in spring training. In spring training, he was just getting ready. He didn't care if you hit it 500 feet on film. As he gets him, that'll retire the side. We're into the 8th. We lead at 3-0.
Some of the strikeouts today. This was number 3 against Chris Bryant in the first. Then it was number 7, his 200th of the season. That was Denorfian. Then it was his 12th. He struck out Soler with the bases loaded to get out of his one big jam. Then it was number 14 against Starlin Castro, which tied a season high. And then the very next hitter, number 15, Miguel Montero, which tied his career high. 15 strikeouts, our Miller Lite player of the game. So he'll give way, and Adam Jones will come into the ball game. Nate Jones, excuse me.
Here's Schwarber hitting for Herrera. Herrera 0 for 2. Schwarber. Yesterday, an RBI and a run scored in a big at bat.
And Nate on for the 4th time. And since coming off the DL, he's been throwing it pretty hard.
Dexter Fowler on deck, and here's the 1-1 pitch. That one catches the inside corner. So 1-2. Well, Chris Sale saved his best game of the season for our White Sox fans, and what is for them one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game so far this year.
Well, you put Chris in a big game and factor in a standing room only crowd, you're probably going to get a performance very similar to this, although nobody could have factored in 15 strikeouts.
He gone. He knew it.
A high slider catches the top of the zone, and DJ Rayburn rings him up. Doesn't do a whole lot, but it was the velocity that fooled Schwarber.
So here's Dexter. He has their only base hit. He went out and got a Sale fastball yanked it into left field for a clean single. He also, time before that, lined hard to center field. Takes first pitch strike.
Cubs have already been no hit this year. Of course, it was the first time they were no hit in 50 years. That by Cole Hamels. And this is it, 92. About 3 inches off the outside corner and taken into left field. A lone hit.
That one at 97. And the count 1-2. He gone.
That slider at 90, biting down and in. Good pitch by Nate.
17 strikeouts for our guys. And here's Chris Cogman. Chris, what a game he had Friday. 2 for 4, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. And they won that ball game. 6-5. There's a breaking ball strike. Good pitch right there, didn't get it.
That was a real good pitch.
And count 1-2.
We've had 3 pitches pretty much in the same spot.
He gone. He strikes out the side. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It is 3-0 Sox.
Sale was absolutely brilliant. 15 strikeouts in 7 innings, just the 1 hit. And 3 solo home runs by Abreu, Ramirez, and Cabrera, and that's the difference in this one so far. Honda. Great deals are happening at the Honda Summer Clearance Event, now at your Honda dealer. And James Russell comes in the game at 0-2. His ERA 3.21 on for the 43rd time. Kyle Schwarber stays in the game, came on to hit. He struck out. And Coghlan came on to hit, and he struck out. Schwarber in left, Coghlan at third.
LaRoche into left field. Schwarber very quickly is going to see a little bit of that high sky. With just a few clouds up there, so 1 out.
Chicago White Sox Charities present Sox Serve Week, a week-long initiative dedicated to giving back to the community we call home. Sox Serve Week will take place the week of August 24th. For more information, visit whitesox.com/SoxServe.
Breaking ball strike to Alexei. Alexei 1 for 2 with that home run. That was his 8th. Year-old southpaw out of Cincinnati.
David Robertson loosening up.
Dots the outside corner. And that's low. Full count. Well, Chris Sale in his career against the Cubs has worked 16 innings.
They haven't done much with him.
They got a run. They got 1 run in 16 innings. There's a ground ball to his counterpart, Russell. 2 down. They got a run, and he walked 3 and 25 strikeouts.
Today was just a masterful performance. You could tell right from the get-go that the slider was as sharp as it's been all season long. Then he was thrown at 97-98 with a changeup that found the strike zone most every time he threw it. What a day for Chris Sale.
So here's Carlos. That's down into the corner. He just maybe did get the edge of that inside corner of that bag.
I was looking at the same thing, and Clint Fagan went over to take a look at it. Second hit of the day. He takes it down in the corner, and that brings Joe Madden out. So Schwarber gets it back in, and that one will chase Russell from the mound. It's Jason
Tyler
Mott.
Flowers will be the hitter.
And as Mott comes in, we'll step out and be back after these messages. Hander. There you look at the numbers. He's been the right man in the right spot most of the time. 7-1. This is 53rd appearance. Been called on to save 7 games. He was successful 6 times. So all in all, a pretty good year for the veteran right-hander.
So here's Tyler. Pick him up, Tyler. Jason, 33-year-old right-hander out of Memphis. The ball gets away. Breaking pitch. Now sit on that fastball, Tyler. Sanchez sitting on third.
That's just a second wild pitch in this slider. Montero tries to backhand it, and it goes back to the screen.
There it was. That one at 93. That one at 95 down low. Try one more time, Jason. Great. Nope, that one at 95. That evens the count at 2. All right, wins of the 9th. We lead at 3-0.
Connected devices, real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply, so visit MLB.tv for details. And David Robertson comes into the ball game to try to nail it down. It's 3-0. David's 5-3. His ERA 2.74, on for the 44th time. 23 saves and 29 opportunities. Opponents hitting just 193. And he'll have to go through the heart of the order for the Cubs.
That's the way Abner designed it. Bryant 0 for 3 with 3 punch outs. And if you're just tuning in, between Chris and Jones, Sox pitching has 18 strikeouts through 8 innings. That's high into right field. That's a can of corn.
So it would appear with 2 more outs that the Bryant hitting streak will come to an end and stop at 12.
You know, the amazing thing about it is that now in 8 1/3 innings, our pitching has been so dominant in this game. The Cubs have only put 9 balls in fair play.
With the stuff that Chris Sale was running out there and Nate Jones, who fanned the 3 men that he faced, you're looking at 4 innings where they struck out the side.
Looking at 6 innings. 18 strikeouts. That's 6 innings of strikeouts. Well, actually 8 foul ball, because 1 was a pop-up foul in foul territory to Adam. So 6 innings of strikeouts. 18 strikeouts. Rizzo 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. And he was hit by a pitch. He actually hit himself by a pitch. He turned right into it.
That was the one spot where Chris really had to reach back and get a little something extra. He already fanned Chris Bryant, then loaded him up by hitting Rizzo, and then fanned Soler.
Two and 2 the count. Soler on deck. Full count. There's a chopper, 2 hopper, 2 down. Soler. Reached on a narrow walk and then struck out. That's deep into right field. And it's a 3-1 ball game. I tell you, that young man is strong.
6th home run, 40th driven in. This ends a shutout. That one's a fastball out over the plate.
So the first time that Addison Russell has faced David. Takes first pitch strike. To the count. Addison today 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts. And he flied to center. One and 2 the count. 3-8-1 for us, 1-2-1 for them. Here with 2 out. In the top of the 9th inning, if you're just tuning in. Look at the play by Saladino. Yes! They're going to review it. They got nothing to lose. But what a play by Tyler Saladino.
This one right down the line. Tyler Saladino makes a great catch. A double clutch, but gets it over there, and Clint Fagan calls him out. I know Brandon Hyde thought he had beat the play. He got nothing to lose by challenging it.
It appears that he got it. What a play by Saladino.
That's real quick, and they call him safe.
All right. So now that'll bring the tying run to the plate. He did beat it from that angle. Yeah.
Yep. Ball's not there yet. Foot's on the bag.
So here is the tying run in Starlin Castro. First pitch strike. There he goes. Run doesn't mean anything. 1-1 to count.
Even when you think it's got a chance to be easy, it's never easy.
It's never over. Never over. There's a chopper to Hopper, and this ball game is over. So the Sox take the deciding game to retain the Crosstown Cup, as the series is even at 3 games apiece. And this is nothing but just absolute exhibition of ability and absolute fortitude by Chris Sale.
Well, Chris just walked out there today as a man on a mission. He had a full house. He had a 96-degree day with plenty of humidity. It got up to 97. So the temperature in his fastball stayed around the same thing most of the game. And Chris Sale was absolutely brilliant. 3 solo home runs got the job done. And the Sox come away with a win. And the season series between these two clubs tied at 3. So we'll step out and be back after these messages.